I haven't got any circus skills at all. I can't juggle, I can't throw the knife at the lady, I can't tame the lion, and I can't crack the whip or jump into the small bucket. Can't do any of those things.
The thing that excites me about performing is that it's a release of any tensions that you might have inside you.
Ooh. I'm not sure whether it does excite me anymore, it's just the money.
It does me. The thing that excites me about performing really is the fact that you're doing something good, you're making people laugh.
Except the ones that walk off.
Except the ones that walk off, and, you know.
It's a kind of two-way thing, seeing people enjoy and just connecting with them, you know what I mean? I kind of like that about it, really.
You've got to communicate with the audience, but not to look at them, because you are apart from them, and it will break the illusion.
I normally try and interact with an audience, but with 800 it becomes really difficult. But I actually think I managed. And that's an amazing feeling to just see that you're making an impact.
Like I was doing a job in Brighton recently, and then had a real buzz about it. And then I was in Suffolk or somewhere like that, doing an agricultural show, and people had come to look at the cows.
I had to stand on one leg and do a raspberry, go arse over, what's it, in front of 250 people. And I bonked my head. I thought it was a goner. And I heard them, as I hit the floor, go, and it was weird because it took off. I just flew. And I was just so embarrassed. I was like, no, I'm fine, just get back on, I'm fine.
We spent a huge amount of time when we were on the road exercising. We would stay up all night long practicing our handstands. We used to spend hours balancing and tumbling and helping each other learn tricks and use our bicycles, that sort of thing.
I can do nothing like that. I can't even juggle.
Well, can I? I juggle with two things, but not with three.
That's not really juggling, is it?
No, it's chucking stuff up in the air, isn't it?
Yeah.
Apart from doing a bit of stretching, a bit of yoga, trying to get my foot behind my neck and stuff like that, you know, just to kind of loosen the old gizzard areas. Everyone used to get down and do bang out 20, drop and give me 20. So we used to do that. And then all stick our knuckles together like loads of bravado-y kind of, you know, blokey business, and put your knuckles together, you know, things like that, really, yeah.
You need to warm all those areas up, your body, and then moving on to your voice. And I start to hum, a kind of there's opening your voice and going, you know,
many men, many men, many men, men, many men, many men, many men, men.
In tooting two tutors astute, try to toot to a duke on a flute.
Paba à moi, tadala rigor.
That kind of thing, you know, it's all kind of croaking out. But it opens up your voice, it relaxes and strengthens your vocal cords, it warms everything up.
I don't find the clowns funny. I do begrudge them coming on. I find it quite insulting.
No, what I enjoy about clowns, I think they're very talented actually, because when clowns get together at the circus, they can do things that are very funny, like they can throw custard pies at each other and things in a very funny way to make a lot of people laugh, and you have to be very talented to be able to do that. You have to be an entertainer.
No, oh my goodness, no way. They're so horrible. They're really frightening, and I think a lot of people are scared of clowns.
And they're very funny, actually.
If it's badly done, it can be very sad.
Oh, it's totally embarrassing. Yeah, I don't like clowns.
It doesn't work out. You feel pity for them, and that's so awful.
Clowns are creepy, aren't they? They're not funny at all. They're just weird.
don't look like they're happy. You know, the way they're painted smiles and their hair. And I don't like the music, that that horrible roundabout music with, clowns aren't not my...
Slapstick just isn't funny, I don't think. Do you know what I mean? A car falling apart and somebody falling over. It's like...
The one I first saw when I was a little kid was called Doodles. Yes, I like the clowns. I like slapstick.
One of the things we least like about what we do is
working with each other.
Working with each other.
Yeah.
You're constantly having to travel with each other, work with each other, be creative.
Do interviews.
Do everything together.
If there aren't a few butterflies around in the tummy before you go on stage, you're probably not going to give a good performance. You've got to be keyed up.
You'd think after all this time I wouldn't, but yes, I still do. I still freak out and panic and fear, the audience reaction to me, and then I get over it.
You feel sick sometimes. But as soon as I go on stage, I think, well, this is it. I can't turn back now. I'm on. Oh, God, here comes the light. The light's going up. Inside, the real me is saying, oh, my God. Here we go. Why am I doing this? I love it when I'm doing it. I know I love it when I'm doing it, but why am I doing it? I'm glad I didn't have too much to eat.
We did a show a couple of years ago, and 8,000 kids saw it in a week. We had about 1,000 kids per performance. And the kids were like, they were 8 or 9, screaming blue murder. Oh, I've never been so scared in all my life. I must be stupid. And you get out there, and you look out and you think, they're just loving it. And they're completely engrossed in what you're doing.
It's knowing that whatever I take on to perform in front of the audience, actually, it comes through me. It's something that I take on, and it just kaboom.
Every time I went on, I could just feel the people laughing at me. It was fantastic. That gives me such a buzz. Such a hell of a buzz.
We turned down Freddie Starr, didn't we?
We turned down Freddie Starr.
Freddie Starr couldn't pay enough for us.
Yeah.
That was the highlight of our career, I think.
That was the
Really
highlight of our career, turning down Freddie Starr.
That's something I hadn't really considered, appearing on television. But if the chance came, yes. Yes, it would be a new dimension.
I am scared of heights a bit. I think I could get over it though.
The circus is it's a bit boring, isn't it, really?
The best effective medicine is... I have no idea.
You see, I've had a lot of things wrong with me. I mean, I'm always going to the doctors, and you get there and you find out, there's queues to wait all the time, isn't there? Most of the time, and then, doctors a lot of the time waiting in queues, and, most of the time you spend most of your time in the doctors waiting, don't you?
Well, I'm sorry, I'm one of these that goes to the doctor when it's generally necessary. I mean, I am one of these that goes for every pill, potion and tablet that there is. If I know what's the matter with me, I expect the doctor to do something about it. I won't be fobbed off by them.
Doctors have always scared me because when I was born I nearly died. I had 50% chance of living when I was born, and was in a little incubator, and all my eyes were covered and I was yellow, which was awful.
I rarely go to the doctor. The last time I did go, he thought I'd died because I hadn't been for such a long time.
Doctors and I are great friends. I owe a lot to doctors. They've kept me alive. I've seen a lot of them. They've come, they've prodded me from top to bottom, in and out, every end, every part of my body. And they've cut me open, stitched me up, and done a pretty good job on me all over.
I'm the kind of person that's sort of a bit of a hypochondriac, and if I get a little sort of nagging pain or something, I automatically think it's something really serious. But then I never go to the doctor, really.
And you never shut up about it either.
I know, it's just kind of like typical bloke, I suppose, where...
It's not.
Should we rave about it now?
Well, it's these heart palpitations I get. You see, you never know when they're going to come, and they just... You got your heart jumping about all over the place.
Can't do with sputum, and I can't do very much with feet. I can't do anything with anybody's feet. I can't have all I'm doing anything with my own, and sputum really makes my stomach turn over. You know. I don't mind vomit.
I developed a funny lockjaw. You know, the dribble was coming out the side of my mouth. I couldn't speak, I couldn't chew. I just wanted to die. Took one look at me and said, "Oh, that's allergic reaction." He gave me my antidote, and immediately my mouth just went, "Ugh." Back to normal.
That's what I got now. I've got throat swelling now. I've got the tablets for that at the moment as well.
I've took a lot of tablets all my life, about 23,000, and I'm still alive. But at the end of the day, I think without them I'd have been dead.
I once had my head slammed in a door. That was good. I was saying goodbye to my friend, and somebody slammed the door on my head, and it was my birthday, and I had to have 5 stitches in my head, so I've got them as well.
I mean, I could have had a DVT, couldn't I, laid in bed all that time, but I mean, as I said, they gave me an anticoagulant. Anyway, I'm here to tell the story, so there's people worse off than I am, and I can walk about all right.
I remember having a severe cold which didn't shift, and I shared a flat with a couple of vet students who dosed me with Famil syrup, the main active ingredient of which I believe is creosote. So I spent several days smelling like a fence post, but it did the job.
You see, I've had a lot of things wrong with me. There was big problems with my eyes at one stage. I went in about my eyes on a lot of times and had to go to see specialists. And you see that, but what they do is they clamp your head in a big clamp, and they want to bounce things on your eyeballs.
I had an eye operation quite a few years ago. I flew very quickly after I'd had the eye operation.
Well, you can't, you couldn't be doing with that, and so I'm pulling my head out of this clamp all the time.
And it was a real concern. I shouldn't have flown because it put too much pressure behind the eye.
That's another occasion when they told me I could just go on my own way, so I got thrown out of there as well.
I've fallen for a nurse, yeah. I fell for a nurse once. This blonde, beautiful little blonde lady. She was quite nice, she was. Yes. I used to travel to Birmingham to see her on my old motorbike.
I had a blood test the other day, but I do not like needles. I don't like needles at all. I look away when I'm having an injection.
I'm fine with injections into any part of my body, but I won't have them in my mouth. And the reason is that I've
always been completely the opposite. I love injections in my mouth.
Really?
I really quite like them. In fact, the more sort of intrusive the dentistry, the better I like it, really.
Well, I'm not keen on dentists now. I was the last in Britain to be gassed.
They didn't use enough gas, did they?
No, I mean, I did come round. But that's when they first started phasing gas out, because they said gas is too dangerous.
The big black mask. Oh. You can see it coming towards your face, and the smell of the rubber, and having all my bottom teeth filled without anaesthetic. Dentists. Just brutal. Really brutal.
Dr. Bewers, he was very good, that boy. I mean, I think he was the first one that told me, some of the many things that was wrong with me. I had a problem with the inner ear and asthma, what I had for a long time.
Got a small scar on my forehead where a child threw a brick at me. Well, it seemed like a brick at the time, but... I've got a scar here.
I have no scars whatsoever anywhere. Have I? In fact, you count that as a scar. It's only a little.
Well, it is a scar, yeah.
Well, I don't count it as a scar, so.
Do you not?
No.
I've got a scar on my elbow and a scar on my other elbow and a scar on my knee.
On my face, my legs, my stomach.
And a scar on my other knee, my tongue, my head.
My arms, wrists, hands, everywhere. There is no one part on my body that does not have a scar.
I don't think I've got any other scars. Not physical ones, mental ones, obviously. I've got a lot of them, but you can't see them because they're inside my brain.
I was injured badly once. Somebody kicked me in the forehead. Being very young, I got up and carried on and didn't think, has it done me much damage? For all I know, some of that damage may still be there. May still affect some of the things I do and some of the things I say.
I've broken all my toes, I've got a dodgy knee, I've busted both my ankles and bent my feet back round so they're next to my shins, broken my hand and my wrist, my collarbones 3 times, bashed my head, knackered my back. But it's all been worth it.
It's great. I love smiling, I love being happy and jovial, telling jokes, being the butt end of jokes, but hey, now I can do it with a mouthful of teeth and I'm really looking forward to it.
I've had crabs, they were good.
They got out of hand, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
Ooh, hang on. Won't let anyone stick a thermometer.
Now it's a lot of talk, is what I find. Yeah. Sorry, what was the question again?
No, because it's the animals, they don't talk
These
about
are teacher because we haven't got much time left. Come on, I'm watching you. Half an hour's gone, you haven't done nothing.
I think it's good to work because you get dignity from it, and I've done all kinds. I've worked in a hotel. I worked in this hotel in Teignmouth, and I'd be there at night, and I'd work on the desk. I'd help in the kitchen, but I also clean toilets. And why not? I mean, I like different roles, and it just means I can channel the madness in different areas.
I really look forward to going to work because I really enjoy working with people that have got difficulties and struggles, and I feel like I can make a difference.
I think just on a personal level, yeah, I do prefer provide a valuable service to them, definitely. I mean, it's not necessarily painful, but sometimes it can be a bit uncomfortable, me sort of like pulling at their cheek sometimes to get right to the back of the teeth. So enjoy the end result. I think that's what they enjoy.
Teamwork. That's one thing about it I like. I wouldn't like to work on my own.
It's over 100, isn't it?
Well, it used to be more than 200.
We've lost quite a few.
Because we're all getting older now, look.
Early on, when you're young, you kind of get too excited and you use up so much energy getting nervous. As you get older, now that I'm older, you just try and stay nice. You try and stay calm. Go away.
Now, when I was very young and first went with the folks, if there was 4 or 5 hooligans, sort of standing in the way, they would be told to move. And God help them if they didn't move. They'd get a bite on the bum, and probably a smack round the ear hole with a cape, from the policeman.
The thing about being in a lab is you're your own boss. You're free to sort of run several things at once, and it's a very social atmosphere in many labs.
Yes,
and ours was a
important.
great place to work. And in some labs you can have music playing because a lot of what you're doing isn't using your brain at the time.
They use mice, don't they, for things?
What, eyeliner?
It's not nice, really, is it?
What, lipstick on a Yorkshire Terrier?
Oh, no.
I think we should all be in clinical trials. We have a moral obligation. Fortunately, I've never been asked, but I take so many drugs anyhow. I am a clinical trial.
You cannot have an effective working police dog which is non-aggressive. As they get older, all they want to do is be the leader of the pack. It's their instinct. And every now and again, he probably just challenges me for the leadership of the pack. So every now and again we have a little tete-a-tete.
I feel that if I've given my best performance and it's a good one, then obviously I get the reward, the pat on the back, knowing that you've tried to do your best for your coach. They've given you the training, the least you can do.
I do define goals and targets, but then when you get going, it's fun. It's just good fun, really. It doesn't feel like work. It just feels like you're just being really silly.
So sorry. My job is, I'm in the entertainment business, so, I'm a singer, actress, whatever. That means I do a lot of traveling. I have to fly to different countries sometimes.
I'm all right walking on the flat and downhill, but I can't go uphill. As soon as I start to go uphill, I get chest pain. It starts to tighten up. But what I do, where I live, there's a downhill slope down to what they call the co-op. I walk down there and come back on the bus.
It can be stressful, yes, as a runner, because you strive to...
When we work in a factory, we are looked after, aren't we? We have the dentist, the chiropodist, chest x-rays, get all our injections done and everything, without even going out of the factory, which is good.
The ideal weather for me is dry, about 65 to 68, I'm perfect. Anything over that or under that, I'm struggling, especially in cold mornings. I shouldn't really go out in cold mornings. I've been told I shouldn't go out in cold mornings. I shouldn't go out in the wind. And also, I should, just do what I can do. And I'll say some days I can move mountains, the next day I can't do anything.
You start Monday, Tuesday, you do mornings. Wednesday, Thursday, you do afternoons. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you do nights. But I've done this, you don't know if you're coming or going. Every 2 days, you've got to change your sleep pattern. It's awful.
It is very repetitive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's very repetitive.
The foreman's always watching you.
But we couldn't
do.
wander about. We can't wander about. But if we make a mistake, then we will be severely reprimanded.
You hear about chefs being crazy. He was crazy. He would throw knives around. Thankfully, I didn't have a lot of dealings with him because I was, dealing on other sort of areas in the hotel, and I just kept out of his way. My friend got it in the neck.
I like that feeling of accomplishing something, but if I had a choice, I would rather not work and just have a really nice life. Yeah, I think sometimes you feel a bit like you're a slave to someone else, really.
But if you work every day and you're doing something you don't enjoy, then life must be so miserable, and if you're doing something you don't enjoy, I don't know why you don't just give it up and do something you do enjoy, because you may as well enjoy life, because you don't live for very long, so you may as well enjoy what you're doing when you are working. And I really enjoy what I do, and if I ever did something that I didn't enjoy, then I'd give it up immediately and do something that I really did enjoy, because I like to enjoy life,
I'm looking for a job of a sort of clerical nature, administrative perhaps, preferably to do with customer relations.
When I retire from racing, I don't even like to think about it. I feel that each day I can run, touch wood, with injury-free conditions, then I'll run till I drop. Tactics are very important in a race.
I'm terrified of retirement. Terrified. I really like my work. And I don't want to retire now.
You can't be morbid, or you wouldn't be able to do the work. You've got to have a laugh, and a joke. You have a joke, It's just you or them, isn't it? It is animal instinct there.
I think Feng Shui should be introduced to all office environments.
I'd like to have a go at trying to clean an elephant's tusks.
Can I just tell you something? That's not a human ear on the back of a mouse. That is one of the most grotesque misrepresentations that I know. It's a piece of cartilage shaped like a human ear, put into an epithelial covering. It's not a human ear.
What? The sound of the sea. Definitely. It's the sound of the sea. I find it really, really peaceful.
I
I think I have a very intimate relationship with water because I'm primarily composed of it. But I do think water is one of the great mysteries.
The sea, that black vastness, coupled with your imagination of the sea, and the fact that the sea has all these creatures that are from other planets, the vastness of the sea out there, sea monsters, and the dark. You're right against it, you know what I mean? We're right against it.
I have to say, I don't really like the idea of what's below. I find it a bit kind of like, ooh, it's like I think about how deep am I, or is there going to be kind of, yeah, you know, because I do swim quite a way out, but I have to say the further out, it's almost like testing myself or something like that. It's like, go on. Like, how far can you go?
You enjoy being buoyed up by it, but of course with every swell there's always a little dip at the other side, so that's something that you always have to check for and be aware of.
Oh, that's too clever for me, all of that stuff.
How is water water? It's an eternal mystery that every time I look at it, it just completely amazes me. It behaves unlike any other material that we've got on the planet. It has a property that nothing else has, which is a form of quantum coherence. But water seems to have the quantum coherence field moves outside of the molecule, and the water can be seen to be acting as a whole. And this is extraordinarily unusual.
I think it's a great medium. It supports you. It's fun. It's a beautiful environment to be in. So for me, I love water.
I don't love water. I'm scared in the water.
I was scared of the sea because it was really big, and I was really little, and it was just really huge, and it was cold, and it was unpredictable, and you'd get splashed and knocked over, and I got dumped a few times by the waves, and I didn't like that at all, not one bit, and it would all be in my eyes, and no, it wasn't very nice. But once I'd learned to swim, I was much happier, and now I always go swimming in the sea now.
I like swimming because you can lose yourself, you can be on your own, you have more space. It's nature, it's nice.
When I'm swimming on my front, I haven't still learned the technique of tilting my head to the side and taking in a breath. I take in a lot of water. That's the way it is. Seriously, I drink so much water that it is a danger to others.
Bobbing around in the sea.
I
don't like bobbing around in the sea. Yeah, I used to like bobbing around in the sea, put it that way, when we were younger, but I don't go now, so.
I'm an excellent swimmer, and I've got loads of badges, and I've won a few competitions. I've got life-saving awards and all sorts of badges.
I'd like to have something that kind of unfold out of your nose like a periscope. Like a periscope, so that when you went swimming, you could just shoot this periscope up, and you could just get air the whole time. That would be great. It'd have to be very long though, wouldn't it? Because if you're going 20 foot down or something.
Yeah, I think so.
I have a dualistic relationship with the ocean that I'm absolutely thrilled by and energised by it, but I'm made nervous by its immensity and its depth.
When you've been down, it's really deep down in the sea, it's when you're diving, and then you come up too fast. I think you get an air bubble in your head, and it decompresses your brain.
If I go too deep, you can have headache, or So that's the thing about diving, It's not as free as people think, I think.
I don't like the idea of being underwater for too long, but a minute is long enough for me. As long as I can hold my breath and I want to be out of there.
If you get the bends, it can be quite narcotic. You can get a kind of narcotic effect. You don't know which direction you're going in, you don't know which is up or down, you don't know how long you've been in the water, you can't regulate yourself anymore. And I think it's it's really, really dangerous.
I've had altitude sickness, which is like the opposite, isn't it?
There's only a certain depth you can go to, isn't there, without your head exploding.
I think the sensation of lying on water and having the waves take you up and down is a very primal experience, and it's saying to me, you are tiny and insignificant, and I can sweep you away.
I've got severe motion sickness. I mean, it used to be pretty bad. I used to puke all the time, but now it's a bit better. And it's not a pleasant experience for me personally, no.
I don't like jellyfish at all. They frighten me. Don't like being stung by anything. Bees, wasps, jellyfish, any of that stuff. I don't like it.
No, there's nothing that scares me in the sea. Only the obvious floaty things which shouldn't really be there, to be honest.
I love the sea and I love swimming in the sea. I think the sea is really scary, man. It's a whole another universe in the sea, man. The sea is a big thing. All kind of things. And the thing is, actually, when you're in the sea, it's really interesting, that thing. When you kind of dive into the sea and you get in there and you go out there, you realise as a being, the being that you are, the species that you are, is you have suddenly fallen very rapidly down the food chain. You are no longer the dominant species. You are suddenly food.
I'm not afraid of anything because I gave up fear, but nothing scared me at all until somebody told me I should watch out for the sharks.
I'm okay with sharks. They have such a bad reputation. Everybody had them. I don't know why. They are quite nice.
I just don't really like the idea of feeling like even fish, which is a bit dumb because obviously they're there. The bit that I really hate is when you get that seaweed. Yeah, I suppose it is seaweed that it kind of like catches around, that brown sort of like stuff like tagliatelle, but it's their big. It kind of like wraps itself around. That's when I get a bit freaked out, and I kind of think I'd rather be in a swimming pool.
Would be too much, could you?
If I was attacked by a shark,
Right.
I would scream.
Oh, come on.
And I'd be dead.
I don't think you could do much, could you?
Well, it depends. If you had me by the leg, I'd be able to scream and scream. But if you had me on my throat,
We were just talking about that now, that there's somebody on the news that somebody being attacked by a shark.
Crocodile.
A crocodile.
In
A
Australia.
crocodile in Australia. And I'm just going now.
Sorry.
So I do have a real phobia about the water, don't I?
yeah.
Which is driving everybody mad now.
I'm quite low down in the food chain because there's not. I am. You ever think about this? How many things can eat me? Loads, isn't it? And you.
I've been under a lot of pressure lately.